Today's quote, if you want something you have never had, then you have got to do something you have never done. So what does it mean? To put it in a nutshell, you have to come out of your comfort zone. We all have a comfort zone. We want to do the same thing. We don't want to do something that is more difficult or something that is unusual. When you try to do that, then you will get what you have never got. That's what you have been trying for. Am I right? So with that quote, we'll start today's session. How do you find today's paper? Easy or difficult? I am afraid to explain today's paper for one reason, the time factor. I have my own apprehensions. The first 10 questions may take about 45 minutes. Then we have the passage, we have the cloze test. Because questions 6 to 10, each question is like reading out 2 or 3 paragraphs. I really wonder how much time I'm going to get, but we'll see. So what is this paper? Analysis of Model Test 61. You have 5 questions related to synthesis. The 5 questions are rather easy. The 5 questions should not be a problem. At least 4 you should get, in my opinion. 1, there is a problem with the key, and 4 should not be a problem. 5 questions related to what? Para completion. If you attempt those questions, you've got to be very careful. You have to allot about 10 minutes for 5 questions. You have to decide whether it is worth or not. If you ask me, I will say not advisable. Not at all advisable. If you are a very fast reader, imagine your speed is about 300 words per minute, still I would say don't touch those questions. Very simple. Because you cannot be damn sure about these questions. Then you have the passage. This passage you have got already. Am I right? It's a repeat passage, and the cloze also a repeat passage. But let us assume you have seen the passage for the first time. Still, I would say moderate passage, moderate cloze. You should get 50%, should not be a problem. So I don't want to talk about the score. I'm rather skeptical. But still, I would say between 12 and 17, a good score. You should be very happy. Because the questions are difficult, time-taking. What is significant about this paper? Or what is unique about this paper? Do you find any questions about grammar? No questions related to grammar knowledge. This is what I've been telling. Sometimes you may get a paper where not even one question related to grammar knowledge. Imagine a situation where you don't have one question also related to grammar on one hand. On the other hand, you are not good at reading comprehension and vocabulary. What will be your fate at the time of the exam? It is like double trouble. You don't know what to do. And one more problem here, you have the sectional timing. 20 minutes, what will you do? It will be a problem. So always be prepared for something like this, then you will be able to handle. Is that clear? Now we'll start with the first question number 1. But before we see question number 1, what are the instructions? In the question given below, few sentences are given which are grammatically correct and meaningful. Connect them by the word given above the statements in the best possible way without changing the intended meaning. Choose the best possible combination as your answer accordingly from the options to form a correct, coherent sentence. Now, how many sentences do you see here? 4 sentences. That means what? You have to club 2 sentences. And generally when you read the 4 sentences, you should form an idea, get an idea that 2 pairs are there. 2 sentences are related, that is 1 pair. Another 2 sentences are related, 1 more pair. Then you have to check with the given word, whether you can use or not. So what is the given word here? Nevertheless. Then you have to ask yourself, this word, it's a conjunction. What does it talk about? What is its function? Is it addition? Is it cause? Is it purpose? Is it contrast? It is contrast. Once you know that, then you should give it a try. So what is the first one? I went to football practice as usual. The director has scolded her for not being punctual at the office. I was, underline the pronoun I. That means what? These two are related, A and C. The director had scolded her for not being punctual at the office. Ramika left for the office as soon as she reached the Bangalore. The Bangalore. As soon as she reached Bangalore. These two are rather related. Now we'll see. You can start with either C or A. Any combination is possible. That's what the instructions say. I went to football practice as usual. Nevertheless, I was in so much pain. Does it sound right? No. Now let us start with C as the first sentence. I was in so much pain, I didn't want to get up in the morning. Nevertheless, I went to football practice as usual. This seems right. It is absolutely right. So hold this one. What is the combination you have got here? CA. Now, Ramika left for the office. Please underline the noun. What is the related pronoun here? Her. Now you have to see. You cannot start with B and go to D. It should be D and B. Ramika left for the office as soon as she reached Bangalore. Nevertheless, the director had scolded her for not being punctual at the office. Are these two related? They are not related. Grammatically they are right, but they are not related. That means what? Can you consider DB? You cannot consider. You can consider only CA. Have they given that option? Which one is that? So what is the answer? Only CA is the answer. This is an easy one. On the other hand, England has the best language schools, obviously. It has the worst weather. On the other hand, first, what is a function? Does it talk about addition, purpose, reason, or contrast? Addition or contrast? Contrast. This is also contrast. If you use on one hand, on the other hand, that's a different thing. Here only on the other hand. Now we will see England has the best language schools, and let us assume B is also, it goes with England. On the other hand, it has the worst weather. This seems absolutely right. One is positive, the other is negative. It talks about the contrast. Please hold A, B, acceptable. The Ramagya organization has inaugurated a community center on the top floor of the same building. The Ramagya organization had earlier set up an old age home to show up the kindness. Do they talk about any contrast? It's more like similar actions, one first, the other one next. That means what? Can you consider these two, C and D? You cannot consider. That means only one is right. Which option is right? A and B. Which option says that? The third option, only A and B is right. This is also an easy one, but time taking, that is a problem here. Hope I'm not going very fast. Today I'm worried about the time factor. If you feel I'm going too fast, try to raise your hand, I will slow down. Because the purpose should not get defeated. Question number 3, although. What does it talk about? Contrast. Though, although, they talk about contrast. Already have got the difference between though and although. What is the difference? Although is more formal, it goes with effective and written English, and usually we start the sentence with although. Though is used in the middle of the sentence. This you should recollect. We will see. They soon decided to be part of the credit equally and to be fair enough. The same will soon make you the gem of this company. A and B, are they related? First you have to see which two sentences are related. Your feminine, please underline the pronoun your and also will soon make you. So these two sentences are related. What is the fourth sentence? they had fought a lot over the matter of completion of the assignment. This goes with which sentence? Hope you guys are listening carefully. So A and D one pair and B and C one pair. Now we have to check whether we can use, what is the word given? Although. We'll start with, here you have a pronoun they, D also you have a pronoun they, no noun as such. But we'll start with D and we'll start with although. Although they had fought a lot over the matter of completion of the assignment, comma, they soon decided to be part of the credit equally and to be fair enough. This sounds right or wrong? Absolutely right. So what does it mean? What is the combination here? D and A. And what is the other one? Your feminine sensibilities would be considered as the strongest part of your character. The same will soon make you the gem of this company. Are they anywhere related? Ridiculous statements, nowhere related to the work culture. Absolutely not acceptable. And also you cannot use a conjunction. So what does it mean? Only one option is right. Which option is that? D and A. Which option says that? The fifth option is right. D and A is right. This I am not convinced. I said 5 should not be a problem and 4 for sure, but this question somehow, personally I am not convinced, though you get a particular combination. First, which two sentences are related? One is this, the other one is this. At the outset, please underline the pronoun I. Last sentence also, please underline the pronoun I. See, questions like this, first you have to decide which two pairs are related, which two sentences are related. Wherever you see pronoun and similar context, they are related. Then you have to take the given word and cross-check whether you can form a meaningful and grammatically correct sentence or not. Very simple. Now, B and D one pair, A and C one pair. We'll check with A and C. Jyoti, we will use the noun. Jyoti can go for a movie and have the best of happy moments she can spend with her parents, comma. She can spend with her parents. Instead, to go far, does it sound grammatically right? No. And let us take A and C. To go far and attending that monotonous session, instead, Jyoti can go. Does it sound right? That is also not grammatically right. That means what? You cannot consider A and C or C and A. You have a question? You could ask me. What is the other one? I didn't want to take a side in the argument. Instead, I put my headphones on and listened to some smooth jazz. This seems right, but not in the real sense. But I feel you can give it due consideration. So what is the combination here? B and D. Which option says that? The first option. Only B and D. See, I don't know how many of you are listening. Questions like these, all of you please listen very carefully. These days the papers are really good. I personally feel those are good at English also, they find these papers rather difficult, and it is not that easy to cross 15. If they cross 15, it is something like an accomplishment. You may ask why, for two reasons. The first reason, imagine you have to read these 5 questions. You need at least 5 to 7 minutes. You have to read the 6 to 10 questions, paragraph related. Minimum 7 minutes you need. 7 plus 7, how many minutes? 14. To read the passage, usually if your speed is 200 words per minute, and it is not a short passage, not a lengthy passage, it should take about 8 minutes. 14 plus 8, how many minutes? How much time do you have in the exam? 20 minutes. That means what? It's quite obvious that you cannot read all the questions. You have to decide quickly. Either it is passage and close, or it is the first 10 questions, and to some extent close. You will not get the time for all these questions, practically impossible. When I say you will not get, what I mean, those are good at English. Now imagine average candidate, how many questions he or she will be able to answer. Out of 30, in my opinion, 10 or 15, not more than that. With the assumption that they don't read the passage, with the assumption that they are not good at reading comprehension skill. What will they do? They will wonder what to do in the exam. Very simple. Neither they can read the passage, nor they can read the cloze, and definitely these are ruled out. It's beyond their this thing. Now what are they supposed to do? Do you understand what I say? So this paper is a very good paper. A good paper in the sense what? A challenging paper. I have been telling you people, generally what happens, when we are used to something easy, our standards come down because we go to the comfort zone. Always questions about present tense, past tense, future tense. We are so happy. Always questions about the same words, assuage, mitigate, alleviate. We are so happy. Always questions related to easy para jumbles. We are very happy. We assume that we are ready for the exam. That is a problem here. Assumptions are very dangerous. When you get these papers, not these papers, the regular papers, what we got in the past, let's say you got in the range of 18 and 22. Then the problem comes in, sets in. What is it? Complacency. Complacency means what? You become complacent. And you feel, I'm ready for the exam. I know English. I have become very good at English. And all of a sudden, once you have that problem, once you have that feeling or attitude, then your downfall begins. You stop learning and you stop taking up challenges and you get used to the same style. In the exam, all of a sudden, you see a paper like this. Then what will happen? You get the shock of your life. That is the reason why I have been telling, please try to attempt tough questions. Passage is tough always. Attempt that. Try to attempt para jumbles. Nowadays are very tough. Take it as a challenge. Try to attempt questions related to cloze. I have been telling you people, try to have a look. The CAT guides. What is the reason? You know, CAT exam guides. You come across new models. You come across tough passages. Then when you read those passages, when you see those models, this becomes very easy for you. If not easy, you will be in a position to handle the questions. You know how to handle the questions. If you cannot handle, you don't know how to handle, it becomes a big mess up. That should not happen in the exam because they don't give another chance for you. Imagine you cannot decide, you start with these 5 questions. Perhaps you manage. Then you go to the next 5 questions and you're so enthusiastic, overconfident and over-enthusiastic, you attempt those questions. Usually in the exam, when we are tensed up, we get carried away. Then you spend a lot of time over there. And there's every possibility, question 6 to 10, if you attempt, you will spend minimum 10 minutes before you realize. Then what will happen? 15 minutes gone. You panic. Then you try to attempt questions related to passage. Once you panic, is it possible to answer the questions? Not possible. So selection of questions very important. Because I see a lot of bright students here. Sometimes they tell me, sir, actually I could not answer the questions properly. I could not select the questions properly. And there was a mess up. Because of that mess up, the impact of that fell on reasoning. The impact of that fell on quant. It's a chain reaction, a negative chain reaction. So please remember when it comes to English, when you see the questions, decide quickly. You should have the ability to decide quickly what to touch, what not to touch. Once you know what to touch, what not to touch, you are in a position to answer the questions and you get a good score. This is very important. Now shall I move on to the next set of questions? Or one more is there. Oh, this is rather easy. 5th one, what is it? Likewise, of all the questions, this is the easiest. But there's a problem with the key, I suppose. It made the king to think how a little child can go so deep to express himself to the best. Where is the other sentence about the king? A and D one pair, B and C one pair. First we'll check A and D. We'll start with it made the king to think. It made the king. Then can it be the first sentence? It has to be the second sentence. Now what is the first sentence? The fantasies. Fantasy means what? Imagination. Please write the word, write the meaning of the word fantasy. Fantasy means imagination. And when we talk about movies, we use different adjectives. Historical movies, devotional movies, action movies, romantic movies, suspense movies, and we also say sci-fi movies. Sci-fi means what? Scientific fiction movies, sci-fi. And we also say socio-fantasy movies. Socio-fantasy, what does it mean? Part of it related to culture or the society, and part of it imagination. If you take movies like Sahasa Veerudu Sagara Kanya, have you heard of that? And Atiloka Sundari, these two come under what? You are ready with the response. So these two come under what? Socio-fantasy movies. Please write that expression. Socio-fantasy. Socio-fantasy movies. Now we'll start with D. The fantasies of the little prince were so beautifully formed that it left the king surprised. Now we'll see. Likewise, it made the king to think how a little child can go so deep to express himself to the best. Right or wrong? So please make a note, what is the combination here? DA is perfect. What is the other one? You can use BC or CB, either way it is right. Please remember, we'll start with BC. You can't go out with everyone who fancies you. Likewise, you can't give your phone number to every man who asks for it. Or, you can't give your phone number to every man who asks for it. Likewise, you can't go out with everyone who fancies you. That means what? BC, CB. Right. Do we have those combinations? DA, BC, CB. So what is the answer based on that? How many of you have chosen the fifth option? That is really good. I appreciate those students. What is the answer here? Are you listening? What is the answer? Fifth option is the answer. So all the 5 questions easy. But easy for who? I want the answer from your side. Don't say for you, sir. For those who are fast readers, for those whose speed is about 200 words per minute or 300 words per minute. May I know your speed? What is your speed? How many words per minute? Do you know or you don't know? You know or you don't know? You know or you don't know? Who knows the speed here? The speed of reading. You have to know. When is your exam? Now don't tell me we don't know. Exam is fast approaching, and today it's quite obvious. A reading comprehension skill is the deciding factor. For selection, what is the deciding factor? I'll give the choice because you're so conditioned to multiple objective type questions. Is it grammar? Is it vocabulary? Is it reading comprehension skill? None of these. What is the deciding factor? A reading comprehension skill. Very simple. So for that, first you should know what your speed is. As I said, for bank exams today, the required speed is 150 words per minute. Ideal speed, 200 words per minute. If you are in that category, you're ready for the exam. Imagine your speed is 100 words per minute or 90 words per minute, you're not ready for the exam. You have to spend more time on improving your speed. Very simple. Now shall I move on to the next set of questions? I'm really worried of so much is there to read, and what time is it? Almost 22 minutes over. Now what are these? This is basically CAT model. CAT exam, quite often they give questions related to paragraphs. They give paragraphs Either they ask the candidate to complete, then we use the term para-completion. Or they give a paragraph, they ask the candidate to find out the odd sentence in the paragraph, odd man out. Or they give a paragraph, they remove the first sentence, they ask the candidate to select the first sentence or the sentence with which you can begin the paragraph. So for banks, they have not done it as far as my knowledge goes. They have been giving questions related to odd one out and also questions related to para-completion. Now what is this about? To save time, do you want me to read out all this? That will take a lot of time. We'll try the first question, we'll see how much time it takes. Based on that, we'll decide. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it question number 6? What happens to our brains as we age is of crucial importance, not just to science but to public policy. By 2030, for example, 72 million people in the US will be over 65, double the figure in 2000, and their average life expectancy will likely have aged about 20 years. However, this demographic time bomb would be much less threatening if the elderly were looked upon as intelligent contributors to society rather than as dependents in long-term decline. Now, how to handle these questions, I would like to spend 1 or 2 minutes. First, you have to read the passage or the paragraph, 2 or 3 sentences. You should ask yourself the question, what is this about? When you ask this question, what is the answer you're going to get? What is this paragraph about? Please respond. What is this about? It is about old people, how they are considered, how people look at them, whether they're useful or not useful. It is about that. And the second point you have to consider, the continuity aspect. He has used about 2 or 3 sentences. Completion, there should be continuity, one thing, and also it has to be something like the concluding statement or sentence. Now this is about old age people. We'll see what goes with. We'll take each one, we have to. But the last sentence is what? A contrasting idea. However, this demographic time bomb would be much less threatening if the elderly were looked upon as intelligent contributors to society. So he talks, that means what? They are looked upon as intelligent contributors or not looked upon? Not looked upon. He talks about what? However, please read the sentence very carefully. However, this demographic time bomb would be much less threatening if the elderly were looked upon as intelligent contributors. What is the meaning of this sentence? It means what? They are looked upon as intelligent contributors or not looked upon as intelligent contributors? Not looked upon, right? How many of you feel that way? No second thoughts about it. So that is a clue for you. Based on that, you have to look for the last sentence. The idea that we get dumber as we grow, please underline the word. The word, actual word here, please write the word dumb. B is silent. Dumb has got 2 different meanings. One meaning is what? A physical defect, a person who cannot speak. What do you call that person? A dumb person. But in this context, what does it mean? Please write the second meaning of the word dumb. It means dull. Dull. Intellectually speaking, dull, not physically. Generally, when we talk about students, some students are very dull. We use the word dumb, dumb student. In fact, you'll be shocked to know, in the past, perhaps 18th century or 19th century, in Europe, a lot of schools, the masters, what they would do, they would spot the dull students or dumb students, and they would make them wear a cap. On the cap it is written, please write this word also. On the cap it is written what? Dud. Dud means same meaning, dumb. They would make those students wear the cap, and they would tell the students to occupy the back benches. You'll be shocked to know Albert Einstein, who got the Nobel Prize twice, who had an IQ of 9.6, the highest so far, whose brain has been preserved to do research and find out how he could have such a high IQ, had to wear this cap when he was in school. He was made to wear the cap dud. When he was in school, he was not good at studies. Do you understand what I say? He was a dull student. He was a dumb student. He was not good at the regular mode of learning, the regular way of cramming up the concepts. He would always question the teachers. He would always try to think differently. He was not part of the system, so he could not excel in studies, and he was given the cap. What are the letters? DUD, dud. And the same person he became today in the modern times. During the medieval times, people would consider Isaac Newton, you all know, physicist, the most a genius of the highest order. In the modern times, people consider Albert Einstein a genius of the highest order. That's why I say, when I say sometimes, today you're all in front of me. In future, at least a few of you, or at least one of you, may become the chairman of a bank. When I say this, some students smile. They think Master is joking. You never know. Never underestimate your power, your ability, your talent, your potential. Some spark triggers, something triggers, and you may change completely, and you may become the chairman of a bank one day. It will not be a surprise. This is a classical example. Shall I go back to the question? You have been waiting for that. So what is the first one? The idea that we get dumber as we grow older is just a myth. You all know the meaning of the word myth. Myth means what? A fable, a story, whatever it is. According to brain research, that will encourage anyone old enough to know better. Just hold that one. It is because it should go with our perception about old people. That doesn't go. It is time we rethink what we mean by the aging mind before our false assumptions result in decisions and policies that marginalize, please underline the word marginalize, the old or waste precious public resources to remediate problems that do not exist. Does it talk about the perception towards old people? Yes or no? It does talk about. Hold this one. What is the third option? Many of the assumptions scientists, it is not about the assumptions of the scientist, it is the assumptions of the society, the people. So don't consider that one. Using computer model to simulate young and old brains, Ramsker and his colleagues found they could account. Is it relevant in this context? No. So based on this, what is the answer? Those who have attempted these questions, I would like to know how many of you have chosen the second option. That is the answer. That is very good. I appreciate those students. Absolutely. It has taken almost 8 minutes, one question. There's a problem with this question. What is this about? The better behavior resulting from smart devices is just one threat to the insurance industry. Conventional risk pools for home or car insurance, for example, are shrinking as preventable accidents decline, leaving the slow-footed giants of the industry at risk. Business is instead moving to digital native insurers, many of which are offering low premiums to those willing to collect and share their data. Yet the biggest winners could be tech companies rather than the firms that now dominate the industry. Insurance is increasingly reliant on the use of technology to change behavior. Firms act as helicopter parents to policyholders, warning of impending harm, slow down, reduce your sugar intake, call the plumber, the better to reduce unnecessary payouts. Now, the last sentence talks about what? It talks about giving suggestions, cautioning the people and those who take insurance, and overall the passage is about what? The regular mode of insurance, it is getting affected, and the regular insurance companies are not going to do well in the near future because of technology. But the last sentence is very important. Now we'll see what could be the completing sentence. The growing mountain of personal data available to individuals and crucially to firms is giving those with the necessary processing power the ability to distinguish between low risk and high risk individuals. This is not the right one. You should talk about the benefits and the impact of that. Cheap sensors and the tsunami of data they generate can improve our lives. Black boxes in cars can tell us how to drive more carefully, and wearable devices will nudge us toward healthier lifestyles. There's a general statement, but not continuity of thought. Yet this sort of relationship relies on trust, and the Googles and Apples of the world on which consumers rely day by day and hour by hour may be best placed to win this business. This is also not relevant. It doesn't talk. Now we'll see the fourth one. What does it talk about? The uncertainty that underpins. Already I've got the word underpin. The need for insurance is now shrinking thanks to better insights into individual risks. How many of you have chosen this option? Please raise your hands. No one? I see a few students. That is the answer. He wants to conclude. He talks about the technology and the impact of technology. And because of that, what is going to happen? Insurance is now shrinking. Why? Thanks to better insights into individual risks. Already I've got the word insight. Insight means what? Deep understanding. Insight means what? Deep understanding. With the help of technology. I think it will take a lot of time reading out all these. Now, may I know the question number? 8. Am I right? But we have no choice. I have to read. I'll give you a choice. If I read all these sentences, we have to forget about the passage and the cloze. Passage we have done already, cloze we have done already. Shall we focus on these? Yes or no? Then if we get enough time, we'll spend on those. So now I'll do a little slowly. Question number 8. The expenditure of time, money, and sparse judicial and prosecutional resources is often justified by claims of a powerful deterrent. Please underline the word deterrent message embodied in the ultimate punishment, the death penalty. This paragraph is all about to what extent death penalty can be justified. When you read the passage, you should get an idea what is it about. You all know the word death penalty. What is the other expression for that? Better expression? You have got already. Capital punishment. Please write that. Capital punishment. Capital punishment means death penalty. See, in many countries, capital punishment has been abolished. Many countries, Western countries, capital punishment has been abolished. In our country, it is still there. Usually what happens, whatever happens in the West, sooner or later happens in the East. Do you understand my English? Sooner or later happens in the East. Now those intellectuals, they said, it will not act as a deterrent. It cannot be a deterrent. It cannot be justified. So we have to abolish capital punishment. And a lot of intellectuals, they all felt true, it can be justified. They went ahead, they abolished capital punishment in those countries. Now intellectuals in our country, there's one word I would like to give that word. Please write the word intelligentsia. Please write the word. You know the word intelligent, intelligentsia. Every society has got the elite group, the rich and the famous. At the same time, every society has got intellectuals of the highest order. Those intellectuals of the highest order, they are known as, what is the word for those people? Intelligentsia of the society. So in our country also, the intelligentsia, they have started questioning capital punishment. They have started saying we have to abolish capital punishment. And they have their own reasons. This paragraph gives two reasons. One reason, it says it cannot act as a deterrent. It has never acted as a deterrent, if you look at the history. Second, the time of crime and the time of judgment, it takes a lot of time. And instead of waiting for 10 years or 15 years, in the paragraph it talks about 15 long years, and we have to spend a lot of money. It is better to use that money on the victim's family and convert this into life imprisonment. These are the two important aspects. Now we'll go back to that. So the first point is what? It will not act as a deterrent. Second, but studies repeatedly suggest that there is no meaningful deterrent effect associated with the death penalty, and further, any deterrent impact is no doubt greatly diluted by the amount of time, the second factor, that inevitably passes between the time of the conduct and the punishment, the time of the crime and the judgment. And what is the time frame he has given? In 2010, the average time between sentencing and execution in the United States, what is the average time? 15 years. If it is 15 years over there, here usually it is more time. No second thoughts about it. So two dimensions we have to see based on that. A single federal death penalty case in Philadelphia was found to cost upwards 10 million, 8 times higher than the cost of trying a death-eligible case where prosecutors seek only life imprisonment. The continuity is not there. The ethics of the issue aside, it is questionable whether seeking the death penalty is ever worth the time and resources that it takes to sentence someone to death. Seems right? Hold that one. But basically, as I said, the second sentence talks about which dimension? One is deterrent. What is the other dimension? Time factor, delay. Now we'll see the third option. Apart from delaying justice, the death penalty diverts resources that could be used to help the victims' families heal. There's continuity in thought directly. The last sentence talks about the time factor. This also talks about the time factor. So what does it mean? What is the answer here? The third option is the answer. This one is rather easy. Third option is the answer. A much more effective deterrent would be a sentence of life imprisonment imposed close in time to the crime. But it doesn't talk about the cost factor, financial dimension. One thing I like when I think of students of this institute, you people are highly disciplined. What is it? Highly, highly disciplined. If someone comes and sees, they'll be shocked. You don't come across this sort of a situation in some other institute. Usually they are noisy, disorderly, chaotic, especially when the faculty is doing something. Someone or other will definitely speak. But here what do we see? Pin drop silence. I speak for 60 minutes, pin drop silence. I speak for 2 hours, pin drop silence. I speak for 3 hours, pin drop silence. I really appreciate you people for that. Now question number 9. This is related to what? Monsoon. This is rather easy. The Indian Meteorological Department has come out with a dismaying, underline the word dismay, means disappointing, disturbing, and something not positive. Shocking also you could say. Dismay means what? Shock. But in this context it has a negative connotation, something like, no doubt shocking but disappointing. Dismaying prediction that the southwest monsoon this year will be below normal. That is definitely shocking. If this prognosis, underline the word prognosis. Prognosis means what? Prediction. Please write the meaning. Prediction. If this prognosis holds true, it may mar. Already I've got the word mar means what? Spoil the image or the prospects of something. It may mar the prospects of redeeming the rabi crop output losses through bumper harvest in the later Kharif season. There's one idea. India's farm sector has certainly acquired a degree of resilience. Please underline the word resilience. Generally we use this word in a different form. Please write resilient. Resilient means what? To withstand difficulties or problems and come out successfully. You suffer, but later you come out successfully. Then we say, that means you have the power to withstand problems. You have the ability to withstand problems. Then we use the expression resilient attitude, resilient behavior. Indirectly it means what? You don't give up. You fight, you stay there, finally you emerge a winner. Resilience when it comes to the monsoon, as reflected in the positive growth numbers in all the weak monsoon years since 2009. However, monsoon rainfall and its distribution still remain crucial. This is a clue for you. Please underline the word crucial. He introduces a contrasting idea with the word however. However, monsoon rainfall and its distribution still remain crucial. Crucial means what? Important. Now the next sentence should talk about justification. Why do they remain crucial? How do they remain crucial? We'll see the first option. What is it? They impact supplies and prices of most farm commodities, especially coarse cereals, pulses, oilseeds, vegetables, fruit and livestock products, as well as a rural sector demand for consumer goods. Do you see the continuity of thought? Do you think this is right or wrong? How many of you have chosen this option as a right answer? Are you guys here? You have chosen. This is the answer. The answer is the first option. What is the answer? The first option is the answer. If you have a question, please ask me. If you feel you are not convinced, then you could ask me, sir, why not this option, why not that option? I am ready to explain. You have a question? Anyone, a question regarding this? No. Shall I move on to the next one? What is the question number? The underlying cause for the uncontrolled inflation in the key consumables of the household is a failure of the government to do its job. Private players offer services at usurious cost to meet the demands of a growing middle class. Unreasonable, perhaps, the meaning of that word. I have seen for the first time this word, but from the context, what does it mean? Unreasonable, or please write the word expensive first. You all must be knowing the word expensive. One is costly, higher level, expensive. Something is unreasonably expensive. Now, when you have a severe headache because of the session, what do? Already you are ready with a smile. Huh? So, you go down and you want to have tea. How much does it cost? Downstairs, across the street, 5 rupees or 6 rupees. You go to a restaurant. How much does it cost? 10 or 15. You go to a 3-star hotel. How much does it cost? 30 or 40. Not 30, 40. Now it could be about 100 or 200. You go to the Taj 5-star hotel. It costs 600 rupees. 1 cup of, they give in a kettle, coffee or tea, 600. So coffee 600, unreasonably expensive. What is the word for that? Please write the word. Exorbitant. Then we say exorbitantly priced. Exorbitant means unreasonably priced. Now, what is the last sentence? What does it talk about? It talks about middle class. To meet the demands of a growing middle class. Please, there are 2 words which you have to focus on. Demands and middle class. Now we'll see the first option. Who wish to pass their life peacefully without getting engaged in much aspiration. Is it related to buying or shopping? No. That is reeling under the pressure of rising prices, but anyhow trying to make both ends meet. Does it talk about the demand aspect? No. Which aspires to move up the ladder and secure a higher level of income. Does it sound right or wrong? Are you guys listening? Please respond. Does it sound right or wrong? Those who have read these questions, how many of you have chosen the third option? Please raise your hands. Have you chosen the third option? Very good. The last sentence is about middle class. And here he talks about which means what? Middle class which aspires to move up the ladder. That's why they demand better, better, better. And secure a higher level of income. There is continuity and also the word which represents what? The middle class. So what is the answer here? The third option is the answer. Is that the last one? The first question. I would like to ask the question, how many of you have attempted 1 to 5, the first set? Please raise your hands. The first set of questions. Second question, how many of you have attempted the second set of questions? Raise your hands. You haven't attempted. Those who have attempted, please raise fully. No one. But someone said we got the answer for this question. This is amazing. It is better not to attempt these questions. Why I ask this question? When you see questions like this, try to move away quickly. Don't do it after 5 minutes. First you see the instructions, see the length of each one looks like a paragraph, and each option looks like a paragraph. That means what they've given 4 options, 4 plus the actual one. For one question you have to read 5 paragraphs. Quickly you have to decide, is it worth or not? And one more problem here, after reading also, are you damn sure about the correct answer? Then why should you? Now we'll see we have seen the passage already. What is this passage about? The Prime Minister's visit to France, and from there to Canada also, I suppose. We'll see the questions quickly. Do you remember the passage? I think we have got this passage twice or thrice. And the other day you were talking about, someone was talking about juvenile delinquency. You were talking. You were right yesterday, what you said, absolutely right. We got that about 3 or 4 times. Last night I was checking, 3 times we got the same passage. Now you may wonder, why do they give the same passage so many times? Perhaps there is a reason. First time you must have got out of 10, 3 or 4. Almost 3 months you forgot the passage. It is like fresh memory. But some skill set has improved. Then this time, second time you got about 6. Third time, again fresh memory. Okay. But better skill set. This time you got 7 or 8. They want you to progress. That could be the reason. So don't keep it aside. Oh, we have done this already. No point in reading. Don't do that. You have something to say. Please. Please repeat. They will give the same questions. Not when one letter is changed. Huh. How can you do that? I would like to share something with you. Then you'll get the answer. You're talking about a situation where you got the repeated passage and you're telling, since it's a repeat passage, we know the answers, we can just pick up the answers, it will not lead or result in any improvement. For your kind information, we have students here who cannot make out, I'm sorry to say that, who cannot make out it is a repeat passage. Now this question doesn't come. Do we have to talk about that? No, it is not easy, let me tell you. Not only here, across the country, I can give in writing, any candidate, exceptions are always there. We always talk about the majority. In Delhi, same situation, same thing will happen. In Bombay, same situation, same thing will happen. Reason, you are dealing with 5 subjects simultaneously. You are under tremendous pressure. Pressure to learn, pressure time factor point of view, pressure energy point of view, pressure problems point of view. Imagine you are in this situation where you have to learn simultaneously quant, reasoning, English, current affairs and computers. Have you forgotten anything? Only 5, I suppose. Any other dimension? Banking, the most important. 6 dimensions. I'm not an aspiring banker, so I forgot that one. You can't afford to forget. Good that you have reminded. So 6 dimensions simultaneously. If you remember the passage, if you remember the answers, if you remember the meanings of the words, you're a gem of a person. You understand what I say? You're an exception by all means. You're an exception by all means. Because we cannot take so much simultaneously. And at the most, you remember, if you feel, oh, this we have done already, and a few questions you get immediately, you're ready for the exam. But you remember the passage, the answers, all the 10, definitely. Highly appreciable and admirable. Usually it doesn't happen. Okay? That is the reason why they give. Remember, we are not computers. What surprises me, when I take the regular classes, I give examples, very easy, short sentences, simple examples, keeping in mind the student should not worry about the length of the sentence, the student should not worry about the meaning of the sentence, he should focus on the rule, he should get the rule. When I conduct a test, intentionally, deliberately, I give the same examples. Now, common sense, same examples, you should get, I give 50 sentences, what should be your score? Practically thinking. Not 50 out of 50, that is 40 plus. Every batch, I remember this, your batch, only one student got 40 plus. This student, you got 41 if I'm not wrong. Today also remember. And most of them got in the range of 30 and 35. And many of them got in the range of 20, 25. I was really shocked. I was expecting a lot of them to get 40 plus. Common sense says that. Same examples, I did not change one word also. Why doesn't it happen? Because we cannot remember whatever we listen to. We cannot remember whatever we read, especially when we are under tremendous pressure, especially when we have to read a lot of information. That is the reason why last year I came to this institute. I found a lot of brilliant students, a lot of hard-working students. I personally appreciate the students for their patience, for their diligence, for their commitment. No second thoughts about it. What pinched me, a lot of them could not get selected. Then I thought, what could be the reason? The main problem is consolidation. What is the problem? They keep on learning. They don't consolidate. By listening once, how can you remember? It's impossible. You should regularly, at this age, especially when you learn a lot, you have to listen, understand, read, remember, consolidate, revise, practice with someone, practice a lot of questions, write without seeing, scribble. When you do all these things, whatever you learn goes from the short-term memory to the long-term memory. But here you come in the morning, leave in the evening, morning to evening, you listen, listen, listen. You don't have time to consolidate. After 3 months, what will happen? To use an idiomatic expression, you're back to square one or you're back to the pavilion. Means what? Back to the starting point. First day you didn't know about tenses. Today also you don't know about tenses. Very simple. That is the reason why I have been telling, please allot some time for consolidation. You are going in the wrong direction. Listening always is a problem. You have to allot some time to consolidate. If you don't do that, it is not worth listening. Imagine you listen for 6 months, mock tests, explanations. You attend the regular classes and you don't consolidate, your score is always 7 or 8. Does it make any sense? Does the faculty matter? His experience, does it matter? Does the institute matter? It should matter. If you want to make it something fruitful and result-oriented, the only thing you have to focus on, the consolidation factor. Consolidate practice, consolidate practice. Usually, I don't know, people are conditioned, that is a problem. I'll just take 2 minutes, after that we'll go to the questions, because this is very important. I feel more than learning, your attitude is important. I always focus on attitude. Morning also I did orientation, I told the students, today if you take 40 lakh candidates who appear for bank exams, what is the number? How many candidates appear for bank exams? Do you all know the number? 40 lakh candidates. And in my opinion, across the country, if you take big cities like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Hyderabad and Chennai, where you have the best institute, the best faculty, at least 1 lakh candidates are brilliant. They're intelligent, they're diligent, they're intelligent, they're hardworking. But all the 1 lakh candidates, will they get selected? Only 10,000, imagine the number of posts, 10,000, 8,000. 8,000 get selected. Then comes a question, you may ask, sir, why not? When they're intelligent, when they're diligent, Why don't they get selected? That's a very good question. You have to ponder, you have to introspect. The only reason they lack the exam approach. What do they lack? Exam approach. They don't know that they have to do certain things which are essential when it comes to remembering or consolidating. They go in one direction, one flow, listen, 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 or they don't make notes, they don't read certain things, and they try to stick to the same pattern. Regular classes we attended, mock tests we come every day, and this is enough. How is it enough? 1 lakh candidates are brilliant, hard-working. You should be among them. Only 8,000 they have the potential to get selected. You should be among that 8,000. So what is the deciding factor, you should ask? What is the deciding factor? Are you guys listening? What is the deciding factor? Consolidation. Whether you remember what you learn or not. Yesterday I wanted to do that. Remember we got one paper deeper yesterday. I said, these questions, what should you recollect based on these questions? I thought of doing that. Conditional sentences, I said. Reported speech, I said. Now, I would like to ask the question. I see a lot of senior students over here. Those who have attended the regular classes. That's what I mean when I say senior students. Already they have attended regular classes. They have attended special classes. Right? This is a situation. Today, if I ask you the questions, what are the rules that go with reported speech? What are the rules that go with statements, indirect speech? What are the 5 rules that go with questions, indirect speech? What are the 3 rules that go with indirect speech, commands and requests? Confidently, who can raise a hand and say, sir, I remember all the 11 rules. Please try to respond. If I ask the question, I will give you 9 sentences in active voice. How many of you can confidently change all the 9 sentences to passive voice? Raise your hands. I see one student. One more. If I ask you to make 4 sentences, each sentence representing one particular conditional, who can do it immediately without a single error? I see one student. This matters a lot. Please remember, any competitive exam, what matters is everything should be at your fingertips, not literally. Okay? You cannot write so much. Everything should be at your fingertips means what? Someone wakes you up in your sleep. They ask you, this sentence, which tense is this? Without scratching your head, you should be able to tell. They give a sentence. I'm not joking, I'm serious. I'm really serious. They give a sentence, they underline one word, they wake you up, they ask you, in this sentence, which part of speech is this? Without any hesitation, you should be able to tell. They ask you, change this sentence to passive voice. I'm talking about simple sentences, not complicated. You should be able to. You should not ask, passive voice, what is it? Not acceptable. Now, how many of you are in that situation? Can you say confidently, sir, I can do all these things? Even you cannot say that. That is really surprising. This matters. Always remember, what you learn is not important from the exam point of view. What you remember is important. How much you can recollect is important. I see quite often the word practice. As a verb, what is the spelling, tell me? S-E or C-E? S-E. As a noun, what is the spelling? C-E. I have given many batches a sentence with the 2 words, and they are supposed to select the verb form. A lot of students select the noun form. So what is the use of learning then? Do you understand what I say? So they do it with a reason. There's a reason for that. We cannot question their credentials. We cannot question their credibility. See, last year I was a little harsh. I was rather impolite when I would talk about the papers. I would say, I shouldn't be saying, even I would say that. Standing here, being your faculty, I shouldn't be saying this. This is a substandard paper. They should not give papers like this. Do you remember? You all remember. I stopped doing that. What is the reason? Now the papers are very good. They're excellent, they're thought-provoking, they're challenging. These papers are really good. Then comes the question, are we ready for these papers? First question. Are we ready if the papers are going to be tougher than these papers? Then if you have a firm answer, yes, you're ready for the exam. Very simple. Okay. Now let me ask a question. This is a repeat passage. What is the meaning of the word affinity? We'll just check the words. What is the meaning of the word affinity? I want response from your side. Repeat passage, underline. Word already have got, meaning already have got, underline. What is the meaning? Louder. Resemblance. What is it? Affinity means related, associated, resembling. Usually this goes with animals and plants. Affinity to a particular species. Affinity to a particular geographical region. Dissimilitude. What is the meaning? Now I want it from your side because it's a repeat paper. Don't think I'm cornering you. So I want the response. Yes. What is the meaning? Dissimilar or diverse. Please write dissimilar. Dissimilarity or diversity. Write those forms. Dissimilarity or diversity. Aversion means what? Strong dislike. Very good. Strong dislike. Aversion towards something. Strong dislike towards something. Antipathy. Already you must have got the meaning of the prefix anti, A-N-T-I, means what? Against or opposite. Antipathy means what? Enmity or hostile attitude. Very good. Hostile, hostility, enmity. Logjam. Logjam, what is the answer you got that time? The third option, a situation that seems irresolvable. Overshadow. What is the answer you tell me? See the options and tell the answer quickly. What is the answer? Fifth option. Fourth option, transcend. Answer is the fifth option. None. Surpass, exceed, excel, transcend. They all are synonyms. This all are synonyms. So, not the synonym. What is the answer then? None. That's what I said. I said the fifth option, right? Very simple. Transcend means what? Go beyond or transform or change. Overshadow. All are same more or less. And I don't know how you people look at the passages. You should always look at the passage from a different perspective. Not from the perspective of questions and answers. That is spontaneous. You feel happy. But you should go to the next level and ask questions like, on what basis they gave this question? What is the question about? Is it about explicit information? Is it about implicit information? Is it about the writer? Is it about implied information? You have to ask yourself and again question yourself, do I find questions like these easy or difficult? Can I handle questions related to implicit information? Can I ask questions related to explicit information? Can I answer questions related to the writer's views, the writer's stand? You should always ask yourself. Then when you get the answer yes, you are going the right direction. You get the answer no, then you have to stop, review, and see what should be done to improve your standards. Go to the next level, very simple. But casually you make a note, the question, the answer, then you keep the paper aside. That will never help you. It's a sheer waste of time. I feel every paper is extremely useful if you know how to use it. From every paper you can learn a lot. You can learn how to answer the questions. You can learn the meanings of so many words. You can learn the phrases, the prepositional combinations, the idioms. So much is there to learn. But casually, you look at the paper, you look at the answers, then you don't think of the paper, it will not help. Why do we spend so much? Our director, Sudhir sir, I really appreciate him. He doesn't hesitate to spend money for students. he doesn't hesitate to allot time for students. I asked him, I would like to take special classes, please allot 3 hours for 1 month. It costs a lot of money. He has to pay me. He has to pay the manpower. He has to pay the electricity bill. But he says immediately, go ahead, sir. The other day I asked him, I would like to give the handouts to the students. It costs a lot of money. 300 to 400 students every day, the handouts. He said, go ahead. Why does he do that? He wants the students to get benefited from these sessions, or any session for that matter. And I can say with a lot of pride, this is the only institute to have this sort of an infrastructure, and with this much commitment, spending so much time on explanations. I know how it goes in other institutes. It is like question answer. And you cannot expect in your wildest dreams also something like this. This is a very rich experience. You know how much the screen costs? 11 lakhs. People don't spend so much money, but he doesn't hesitate. He wants the students to get enriched. So every paper, I asked him the other day, I find it so difficult, it is becoming something like nerve-breaking. And it may result in a major problem when it comes to my health. Because 60 minutes I cannot handle these papers. The papers are so good. And I've been trying, but I'm not at all comfortable. I would like to have 15 minutes more. Then he said, okay, sir, you go ahead. You take 2 to 3:15. I will come at 3:15. No other director will say something like that. Do you understand what I say? Because he knows English is a weak point, and if we allot more time on English, definitely students will get selected. He didn't, next second he said, sir, please take 15 minutes, I will come at 3:15. It was a pleasant surprise for me. I thought he would say something else, but he wanted to cut down his time, and he wanted to come at 3:15. So what I'm trying to say, when you have good papers, good infrastructure, experienced faculty, good or bad you have to decide, I cannot say, experienced faculty, you should make use of every session, every paper, to the extent possible. Very simple. Now what is the meaning of the word robust? Strong, durable, lasting for a long time, resilient. Already I've got withstand problems and come out successfully. Vigorous, healthy and energetic or active. Sturdy. Sturdy also means strong and well built. Strong and well built. Do we have some more words? All these are synonyms. Outright, utter, downright, sheer. Now let me ask the question. Yesterday I said you have to read words related to A and B. How many of you have read? Raise your hands. About 40 to 50 students. I want all of you to read and come. Is there any reason for not reading? Don't say no time, sir. That is a standard answer. We have only 4 minutes. We'll check at random. I don't know, somewhere I got this. What is the meaning of the expression size up? In the passage, size up, close test. Size up means to assess a person or a situation. Please write. S-I-Z-E, size up. Size up means what? Assess a situation or a person. You assess a person or a situation. We'll do it at random or first 5 or 10 because we have almost 3:15. Abhor means what? No, we'll start with abandon. To give up, to desert. Abate, decrease or decline. Please respond. Abhor, hate, or you find something disgusting. Abridgment, synopsis or one more, curtailment of rights, abrupt, sudden, abstemiousness, moderate in what? Eating and drinking, abstinence, refrain, keeping away from bad habits, abstruse, difficult to understand or obscure. You know the word obscure, accumulate, to get collected, accurate, accusation, to say that someone has done something wrong or illegal, acquaint, become familiar, acquire, to get, to achieve, acrimonious. It goes with discussion or argument, bitter. Adapt, you know, adept means what? Skilled. Adequate, enough. Adhere, stick to, hold fast to. Adjourn, postpone temporarily, to resume later. Adore, to admire a lot. Affect, effect, you know the difference. Affirm, affirm means something like state publicly, or assert. Affirm means what? Assert. Aftermath, consequences or after effects after an unpleasant situation. Aggravate, make worse. Aggression, anger or violent behavior. Agile. I want the responses from your side. Move quickly or think quickly. Agnostic, a person who cannot decide whether God is there or not. Agonize, to make someone suffer. Agony means what? Suffering. Severe, acute suffering. Alienate, isolate. I gave the example, tribal people are alienated. Allege, from this you have allegation. Say that someone has done something wrong. In a way, it is a synonym of accusation. Alleviate, our favorite word. Assuage, mitigate, reduce. Amalgamate, merge or integrate. Ambiguous. What is the other word for ambiguous? One is obscure, another equivocal, vague. Amble, make someone receptive or aware. Or walk, leisurely walk. Leisurely walk, right. Amenable means to make someone aware or, to persuade someone easily, amenable. Amongst, among, what is the difference? If the word begins with a vowel, letter or sound, we should use amongst. Amorous, lustful, ample. Enough or more than enough. Analogy, comparison. Anarchy, no government, chaotic situation. Ancestral, related to forefathers. Anomaly, anomaly means what? Abnormal, not normal. I gave one more word, what is that? Freak. Freak means what? Abnormal. Apparent, obvious. Apparent means what? Obvious, evident, visible, clear. Appeal,